Hello everyone! The title of this presentation is Children's Picture Books in the Representation of Deafness. The visual impact of picture books renders them as important means to achieve effective learning in early childhood. Through picture books, children have the ability to break the visual codes and become part of the interaction between text and image. In classroom settings, educators and students take into consideration all the textual features of the book in order to invoke meaning and allow more in-class discussion, thus enabling critical thinking. Through illustrations, children become appreciative of the visual artistic impact of shapes, colors, lines, textures, as well as the balance achieved within the framework of such features. The construct of such stories stereotypically corresponds to the values of mainstream society. For that matter, it is quite common to encounter mainly white characters, usually male and able-bodied. Students with disabilities are increasingly placed in mainstream educational settings, so there is palpable need of using class material such as course books, videos, etc. to cover their educational needs. Young children tend to showcase little or no understanding of the notion of disability and the needs of the disabled. Evidently, inclusion and acceptance are strongly linked to the early exposure to authentic representations of what disability is all about. According to Bales, the rate of deaf characters in children's books is extremely low when compared to the diversity spectrum, often overlooking the group's cultural standing. The use of sign language is a strong indicator of the deaf communities, which include interpreters, friends, families, and acquaintances. The use of sign language is also the marker of belonging or not belonging in the deaf community. The support of the deaf child is deemed of great importance from the part both teachers and parents, since this will inevitably influence the child's academic standing and life quality. As part of such support, the need for a realistic portrayal of deafness leads us to the process of reviewing inclusive children's books for their depiction and inclusion of sign language as the main symbol of the deaf identity. The subject matter of this research is the depiction of deafness in picture books and the use of sign language as means to express the deaf identity. The introduction of such material in school settings is expected to familiarize students with the cultural aspect of deafness in order to achieve inclusion and recognition by the mainstream school community. Yet, in the first stage of this research project, it became quite clear that there is lack of picture books with deaf characters in the Greek publishing field. Therefore, the research expanded into other languages, such as English and Spanish.
The final picture books chosen in the research are the following. Moses is a play by Isaac Millman, a hearing artist. Sign and Sing-Along series, Itsy Bitsy Spider by Annie Kabla, a hearing author. And Mil Orejas, translated as 1,000 Years, by Pilar Gutierrez-Llano. Moses is a Play is a picture book for primary school readers. There is use of ESL, American Sign Language, illustrated and explained clearly in separate boxes. There are also appropriate facial expressions matching the sign language, such as smiling faces, eyebrow creases, etc. There is also authentic representation through the School of the Deaf appearing in the setting of the picture book and the appearance of the Little Theatre of the Deaf. The Sign and Sing-Along series Itsy Bitsy Spider is targeting readers aged 2 to 4. The illustrations are quite unclear since there are no facial expressions to accompany hand signs. The sign language also seems quite fragmentary and repetitive. Inclusion is only achieved through the diversity shown within the illustrations with characters from different ethnic backgrounds. Mil Orejas, 1,000 Years, targets mature readers from junior high school to adulthood. The illustration might seem simplistic with little color, but it contains a lot of linguistic antitheses. Words paired atypically to balance hearing loss. This is not something new. There are deaf authors who create sound descriptions by utilizing other senses, thus creating cross-sensory representations. Cross-sensory representations are also tied to synesthesia, in which one sense is able to attribute meaning and manifest itself through another. In the case of deaf literature, synesthesia is used to cover the lack of sound, much like hearing people experience it. Usually, the sense of hearing is substituted with the visual, tactile, gustatory, and or olfactory senses. It is exactly on synesthesia that the author bases her efforts and succeeds to paint an image that cannot be overlooked by readers either hearing or deaf. In the case of Mil Orejas, we have the following examples. Perdí el oído. I lost my hearing. No soy sorda. I'm not deaf. Olor, a smell. Me susurra. It whispers to me. Mano, a hand. Mirada, an image. Tira, it pulls. He dicho, I have said. Grita, it screams. Canta, it sings. Vocifera, it sounds. No oyen, they do not listen. To conclude, literature can become a powerful tool for educators in order to eliminate social misconceptions, to become means of cultural mediation, and to promote critical thinking and inclusion. Thus, there is need for realistic portrayal of the deaf experience, of the culture, and its diverse community. Any superficial addition of a fragmentary sign language can only lead to the inability for deaf students to identify with the characters, to sign language becoming an inaccessible code, and to become dismissed as a language by the native signers. So, there is need for thorough investigation of the matter by authors, illustrators, publishers, and educators before introducing such picture books in the classroom environment. These are the references, and thank you very much for your time.